Hi guys, welcome to the Camper Dan Files. My name is Chris. In today's video, we're going to do things a little bit different. We're going to have a little bit of a Q&A. It's about 4:35 p.m. The sun is going to be setting here in a little over 30 minutes. So let's get into it. So yeah, guys, I just wanted to take this time and just have a little bit of a conversation with you guys. Just to let you know what's been going on, and to give you a few updates on the channel and things to come. And I'm also going to be answering a few questions from a few fellow viewers and subscribers of the channel as well. So I'm just pulling up a few comments here, and I'm also going to be responding to some of those comments just based off of memory. So the first comment that I'd like to address is, do I have any thoughts of parting ways with my R50 or possibly selling it? The answer to that, simply put, is no. I plan on riding this thing till the wheels fall off, literally. Hopefully that never happens, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting a lot more use out of it. We own the rig for about 2 years now, so we're just getting started. Now, most recent comment from a viewer, this was about 19 hours ago. This was related to the head unit install or upgrade that we did when we installed the Jensen head unit that you guys see there, the navigation head unit. One issue in particular that I was having in the past was that some of my speakers would just sporadically stop playing, and then one day they just stopped playing altogether. And when I went and investigated things, I found remnants of a Jerry poking around behind my dash. There were wires that were exposed, just simply twisted together and then covered with some electrical tape. That's highly unacceptable. If you're going to install a head unit, you want to either use some butt connectors or at least solder things together and not just simply twist them. So I made almost an hour-long video about this. It was mainly just me ranting about how dissatisfied I was to find, that rat nest of wiring behind my dash. Since then, we went ahead and replaced the head unit, and for the most part, things have been really, really nice. Things have been working really nice. But getting back to the comment here, and the question. So this viewer stated that they have the Bose system still in their R50, and the right speaker is out and the front left speaker cuts off at random, mainly when they hit bumps, and then it comes back on if they open and close their window, which is kind of odd. But to segue into this question and comment, and it's so funny that this viewer just asked this particular question a few hours ago, because now I'm finding myself dealing with a similar issue and situation. This particular issue presents itself when I hit bumps. Sometimes I don't even have to hit anything. Sorry guys, there's four-wheeler action going on in my neighborhood, so my background's kind of loud right now. Plus there's planes departing Harry Reid International. For those of you that are just joining the channel, if you don't know, I'll tell you, my home is actually near final approach for the airport. So typically you hear noise from approaching aircraft that are landing, but today the wind is blowing in a different direction, so we're actually watching the planes depart. My front speakers, not just one, well, no, actually the driver's side one in particular, it'll just randomly shut off. So the door speaker and then the tweeter that's in the A-pillar, they'll just randomly stop playing. Now, what's so strange is if I turn the volume up, things come back to life. So this viewer was asking if I thought maybe it could be the amp. Now, in the past, I did want to go ahead and swap out the amp, but I wanted to try and address the cheaper things first. So one of the things that I did was change the relays that reside in the back of the truck next to the amp. And at the time when I was having the sound issues with the old head unit, it didn't do anything to remedy that particular issue. However, now I'm thinking about it because I've already verified my wiring. Everything is sound. Again, we've already changed the relays. So there's only really 2 things left. So yeah, we can go after the amp. For me, it wouldn't be really cost prohibitive as I have access to the junkyard, so that's where I would go to source one. But we also have to remember the individual amplifiers that are next to the front speakers in both of those front doors. Because again, all I did was add a few aftermarket speakers, but still using the stock wiring. I didn't want to go through the hassle of running aftermarket wiring and, you know, doing things independently. Now, in a pinch, if you've fired your parts can into everything known to man in the Bose system and the issue still persists, at that point, real and true alternative that you would have would be to just go ahead and run new wiring. And I'm not against that. I'm willing to try. I'll be the guinea pig in this case. I'm gonna go ahead and fire the parts can at the stock amplifier and replace it with a junkyard unit and see if that has any influence in remedying things. If that doesn't work, then the next thing I'm likely to go after is gonna be those individual amplifiers in each of those front doors. Mainly the driver's side one, because for some reason I think it's suspect. And I've also seen other videos on YouTube in the past that specifically pointed at those components, and also mentioning the relays in the back of the trunk also. In one video in particular, the YouTuber actually went ahead and just ran new wiring. They just bypassed the whole Bose system altogether. I'm hoping that it doesn't come down to that, but if it does, I'm ready. But I'm trying to keep things as OEM as possible. I like things to be plug and play. I don't want to dive into the truck and alter more than is necessary. The next question I'd like to address is, how high should I lift my R50? And my answer to this question is, I don't know. And the reason why I say I don't know is because I don't know how your truck's being used. I don't know what your expectations are. I don't know what your budget limitations may be. We'd like to think of a lift for the R50 as one size fits all, but it really isn't. And to be quite honest, the best advice that I could give you before you alter anything, before you lift and start changing parts, the number one thing you want to do is make sure that the vehicle is roadworthy. If you guys go back to a lot of my earlier videos, you can see where I've fixed a lot of things and I'm still fixing. And for me, it seems like every time I fix one of those little things, another one pops up, and then another and another. So as much as I'd like to just offer advice and say, yeah, you need to do this, you need to lift it this high, you need to use these components, so on and so forth, I'm not really here for that. Again, this is contingent on what your expectations are, what you're doing with your R50, what your budget looks like, and what your needs are in terms of what you're looking for out of your truck. For me, I feel like my R50 is pretty capable, even in its stock form, when it was all stock. At the end of this video, I'll put one of my first off-roading videos where the truck was still 100% stock, so you guys can see what I mean. And this was advice that's been offered to me throughout the last 2 years that I've owned my R50 also, both directly and indirectly. Currently, what we're running is the Dobinson coils in the front. Right now, we're running the Land Rover 9447s in the rear. When you look at my truck, it has just the slightest, I mean the slightest bit of rake. And I'm content with this. It all depends on what you want out of your R50 and how far you're willing to go and what your budget looks like. So, bit of advice that I can offer is before you change anything, whatever it is that you want out of the truck or what you're trying to achieve, go out and test the vehicle in those areas. For me, camping was automatic. I just needed something that was bigger than my 5th Gen Ultima to carry my gear. Yeah, that's what I did. I took the vehicle out. I tested it in all the areas that it was going to be performing pretty much every day. I used it as a grocery getter, people mover, house mover, camping, and towing. I mean, we've done it all, and including off-roading. And I want to say some of the most difficult paces that I've put my R50 through in terms of off-roading was done during the first time that I took it on the trail. That's how I damaged my muffler. Like I told you guys in the video there of me replacing the exhaust. It was gonna be in need of attention anyway, but like I said, taking it on the trail, not so much going on the trail, but when I was leaving the trail. And this is why we need to pay attention to what we're doing and where we're trying to take things, because like I said, the vehicle was in stock trim, so my departure and approach angles were a bit questionable. On the way in on this trail that I'm speaking of, you guys will see it in the video if you click on it after watching this one. You'll see the first thing that I did when I entered that trailhead was that I had to do some steps. And I wasn't even sure whether or not if it was a good idea to do it. I was just trying to see how far I could push things. Now, this particular trailhead, the only other vehicles that I've ever seen go up it or down it was a group of Jeeps. I want to say it was like 15 Jeeps. And I was like, And at the time, I didn't even possess my R50 yet. I was still putting around in my Ultima. And I was like, so when I get a 4-wheel drive vehicle, I need to go on this trail because those Jeeps could do it. I know I could get up there, right? So I went, I got my R50. A few short weeks after that, I hit that trail, did that step. And yeah, it was really, really, really exciting to be able to document my truck doing all of this gnarly four-wheeling in stock form. And wouldn't you know, like I said, I mentioned the Jeeps being on that trail in the past. That day when I was actually on the trail, there was a Jeep that had to pull over to the side and let me go by, because as I was going up the trail, they were coming back down. I don't know if they were on their way out or just putting around, because there were random forks all over the place that you could take that would take you in different directions. But this one particular trail is about 30 miles long. This day when I was on the trail, I want to say I probably only drove like 6 or 7 miles in. And then I was like, okay, well, I don't want to push my luck. Let me turn around and exit. And I knew getting back out, I was going to be faced with some serious challenges, because when I had to depart, I had to go down that step. And you could either go center, left, or right. And I picked the right line. And on the way out, not only did it catch my exhaust pipe, it actually bent the areas where I would hook my chains for my trailer, mainly the air on the passenger side. It dented it upward. Now, I know some of you are going to say, hey, you should have had a D-ring in there. That would have alleviated that. No, it would have done nothing. Because again, the exhaust tip hangs lower than the D-ring, so it definitely would have still impacted that regardless. And even if I had the D-ring there, I don't think it would have done much to aid me in keeping my hitch from sustaining that damage. But I'm still able to tow with it today, not a big deal. Let me see, what else? Oh, This is a good one. So there's a viewer out there who was asking if it would be possible to shoot a POV video of myself driving around in my R50, you know, and shifting through gears. I've done this in the past. I always try to put some kind of clip in the video to show, hey, my truck is a manual, versus me just telling you that that's what it is. I want you guys to be able to see this as well. But I'm definitely working on it. That video is coming soon. Well, let's talk some repairs. So one viewer wanted to know how much my clutch replacement job set me back. It was a smidge over $1,000 between me sourcing the clutch kit, which I ended up finding the one that I used. I found it on eBay, and I was able to get it shipped to me for right around $152 or so. And then, of course, the labor to get it done. Well, we had another viewer that I guess they were upset about the path that I took to secure the wires for the nightlight LED light pods. This viewer wanted to know why I used electrical tape. Wouldn't heat shrink be better and more water resistant than tape? And also, what is the point of the flashing lights? To me, that's just annoying. And you're absolutely right. I would never use those lights in an everyday driving scenario. I didn't engineer the lights, so it's not like I built that feature into those light pods. That's something that Nightlight did, not me. In their defense, the only thing that I can think of is that if you're in an emergency and you want to make yourself visible on the trail or something, then you could use those modes. And again, it'll flash in either white or amber or alternately. Like, you can set it up to do that. Personally, I just use the amber feature, the solid amber feature. I like the cutoff and the way that it makes things appear at night. It's easier for me to see. And again, just my personal preference. Where it concerns the heat shrink versus the tape, hey, heat shrink is awesome. I actually have some sitting on my workbench. But the reason why I opted to go with the tape versus the heat shrink is because A, I was in a rush, as you guys seen in the video and heard. My wife was rushing me. It was Halloween. We were getting ready to hand out candy. I had to get on my costume and all that fun stuff. And as for the tape, the main reason why I used the tape versus heat shrink was because I was trying to save time. And every example that I found online, on YouTube specifically, where it concerns anyone doing an install like this one or anything similar, I have yet to see anyone use heat shrink. Now, in my defense, the reason why I went with the tape is because I want my lights to remain somewhat serviceable. In the event that I have to take things apart to troubleshoot things or something like that, I don't want to be fighting and cutting through heat shrink and possibly damaging the main wiring to this kit. You know, the electrical tape, you could take it right off, bam. And guess what? If water falls on it, I put enough tape on there to keep that thing nice and watertight. Plus, it's under the hood. I mean, how much water do we really think is going to get in there, right? But again, if you're doing this modification and upgrade, if you feel like doing heat shrink tubing, go for it. But for me, I just went with the tape because that's what everybody else was using. Oh, another viewer wanted to know why I chose to call the channel the Camper Dan Files versus Camping with Chris. Now, yeah, I do depict myself, you know, doing some camping every now and again. Initially, when I acquired the truck, it was something that me and my family, we unanimously voted and decided that that would be the name. The viewer wanted to know if you can use automatic transmission fluid in the transfer case. And the answer to that question is yes, you can. Ideally, you want to keep your fluids the same based on what transmission you're using. Like for myself, because my truck is a manual, obviously we're using manual transmission gear oil. I went with the automatic fluid, the automatic transmission fluid in my transfer case because it was cheaper. Haven't had any issues. I don't expect to have any. Obviously, if you have an automatic transmission R50, you want to be using automatic transmission fluid anyway. But if you have a 5-speed, you can use it. Don't take my word for it. Definitely consult your owner's manual. But if you read in there, it'll definitely tell you and show you where you can use automatic transmission fluid. It's not a problem. So one viewer had a question about delayed shifting on a QX4. Personally, I wouldn't be able to offer you any advice there, as my R50 is not an automatic. I've never owned an automatic R50, never had to troubleshoot any of those type of issues, so I would have zero insight there. I do have a fellow colleague that I met in the junkyard who's also had some transmission related issues concerning the QX4. They've dropped the pan, changed the fluid, the filters, the whole nine, and it still shifts rough for them. I remember reading somewhere on Empora that for one individual, and it was so frustrating for them that they actually had given up on remedying things at one point. They were like, you know what, I'm walking away from this thing, I'm just gonna step away. And then a short time later, they were like, no, you know what, let me pick this back up. There has to be some kind of solution. And then they finally figured it out. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna jump on Empora right now to see if I can find that thread. Let's see. Transmission issues. Here it is. There was an ignition coil that had a crack in it, and I guess what was happening was that there was a misfire on that cylinder 2 actually. So it just goes to show how you can have one particular issue in one area of your vehicle, not just an R50, but this applies to all vehicles out there. You can be experiencing one particular symptom and you're looking in those areas or that particular area for that symptom to try and duplicate it or narrow it down, only to find out that it had nothing to do with that. It was actually another area that you didn't even think of initially. And that just comes back to the saying, you know, when in doubt, look again. That's something that I live by. I do that every day in all aspects of life, because when you're having those moments of doubt and you're stumped and you have no idea where to look or what to do next, just look again, because often when you do that secondary look, you'll find the answers to the questions that you have. And one viewer wanted to know if it was possible to get an injector pump shipped to Kenya. Unfortunately, I don't currently offer international shipping. That does get a bit tricky, although one exception only. I recently shipped a tire carrier, guys. I shipped a tire carrier to Victoria, British Columbia, and I had to dissect things a bit. I had to break down the tire carrier. And this wasn't knowledge that I possessed initially. I was just trying to figure out what the best method would be for shipping. I went to Home Depot, got some large heavy-duty shipping boxes, 2 of them specifically, and then I went ahead and removed the actual pedestal for the tire carrier where the tire attaches to the carrier. That unbolts, so I unbolted that, set that aside in the box. We also undid the release lever because we didn't want that to get damaged during shipping. And and we just taped all the parts onto the tire carrier, secured everything as best as we could. Used a bunch of bubble wrap, and we sent it. And as far as I know, it got there intact, and the rest is history. The viewer had a question about their turn signals or indication lights. This viewer states that they are not working. They've changed the fuse and still not working. This is for a 2001 R50 Pathfinder LE trim. The only other thing that I could suggest is to check grounds. Grounds on just about any and all vehicles are notorious for causing a lot of things not to work. Also inspect your pigtails and sockets. You know, there could be corrosion and things might have broken somewhere. It could be a broken wire somewhere, but I would definitely suggest checking grounds first. So one viewer in particular had questions about possibly adding bolt-ons to bump up the horsepower on a VG33 R50, 99.5 specifically. Again, I can't offer any insight there because I don't currently use Go Fast products. I believe that my R50 is fast enough. That's one of the reasons why I picked the manual. That's why I started after the 5-speed manual, because I could rev higher. I don't have a computer limiting my ability to go fast. But I've also seen instances where, especially the guys in the AU, shout out to all my viewers from Dubai, you guys are badass. I see all of those R50 Pathfinders, whether it's a VG33 or the VQ 3.5, even my Y60 guys out there, I see you. Pretty sure you can fashion something together, and I say fashion it together because it's not going to be a direct bolt-on. There are some companies out there that make stuff for this platform, but you're really going to have to source things and build and put it together and make it work. And my advice is, if you're going to go that far, to try and make your vehicle a little bit peppier or a little bit faster, don't just add bolt-ons, actually get it tuned. And more importantly, make sure you're using the right rate of fuel too. It's a high compression engine. It was originally meant to run regular fuel, but because of how old these R50s are, it's actually better to use premium. Keeps things from pinging and prevents pre-ignition, and it'll make your engine last a whole lot longer, trust me. One viewer wanted to know, and this was pertaining to air conditioning or the AC or HVAC system. So about 7 months ago, I did a replacement job on the spot when I was trying to fix an AC leak that I had going on, specifically with the low pressure side hose. This particular component, it's known for failing. I've seen multiple, and I mean multiple examples of this component failing, and it always fails in the same way. The rubber section of that hose, over time, it just gets degraded, and then it leaks, and then there goes your AC. Now this individual, they said they have no leaks, as far as they know. It has the right amount of refrigerant, and they've also had their mechanic check out the fan clutch, and they said it seems to be working fine. So if we've done all those checks and it's still giving us a hard time to get cool and stay cool, the only other thing that makes sense is maybe the condenser coil needs a bit of cleaning. I've seen other prominent mechanics like Eric the Car Guy specifically, which I'm a huge fan of Eric the Car Guy, by the way. If you guys haven't heard of him or never checked out his channel, definitely suggest doing so. You can learn a great wealth of information there. But he showed us how we can go about cleaning the condenser coil and the benefits of doing that particular bit of work. Because over time, what happens is that your condenser coil gets packed with debris, small pebbles, who knows, twigs, and the air has to pass through that and over those fins. And when it's not able to do so freely, it can impact your ability to get cool. Also, when those small rocks and pebbles hit your condenser, which they do, it bends the fins, and that causes you to lose even more surface area to get cool. So I would definitely suggest checking that out. I wouldn't say, to go and pull it and replace it. I definitely wouldn't go that far. I can tell you from my personal dealings with AC shortfalls, during the summertime, I notice when I'm driving, like going highway speeds or just moving in general, the AC works fine, nice and cold. In fact, sometimes I have to turn it down. When I went to go sell that tire carrier in Lake Havasu, that day in particular, it was really hot, not just here in Nevada, but over in Arizona. And I found myself having to turn the AC down. Even my wife was like, man, it's cold in here, can you turn that down some? But anytime I came to like a stop, at a stop sign or a stoplight, if I was sitting there for more than a few seconds, it's like you could feel where the AC, it's still blowing, but you're not getting that cold, crisp air that you would get while the vehicle's in motion. So I think that might be somewhat normal because of the age of the vehicle and how the system works. Also, another thing to note, cleanliness is next to godliness. And where it concerns this particular question and issue, it's definitely not an exception, because if you were to look on your dash of your R50, mainly on the passenger side, there's like this little round nodule. It kind of looks like a button, but it isn't. And it's also described in the owner's manual as well. Very important that you read an owner's manual. Everything that you need to know about your R50 is right in that booklet. I'm not kidding. Everything. Front to back, back to front, inside and out. It's all there. So this little button or nodule, it's actually a sensor, temperature sensor. So in the daytime when you're riding around, that sensor is responsible for telling your air compressor when to kick on and off. Again, this is a strategy to maintain the overall performance of your engine and your HVAC system, but more importantly, to maximize fuel economy. So, and it even describes it in the booklet too. If that particular sensor is covered with dirt, and yes, I'm guilty of this because you guys have seen how filthy my truck can be sometimes. If that area gets covered with soot and dirt, that sensor can't do its job and read things correctly and tell the AC or climate control what's going on, whether it should be, taking a break or running a little bit longer to keep things cooler, So if you haven't cleaned that area or you notice that it's getting dirty, do a little bit of housekeeping and see if that helps. It just very well might remedy things for you. Also, for those of you who are still interested or in need of parts for your R50 QX4 or R50 Pathfinder, again, the primary way that I ask you guys to reach out to me is going to be through Empora. I don't conduct business on YouTube. That's more of a private matter. I am actively working on possibly creating an email address for you guys to reach out to me directly. For those that are not comfortable going on Empora, I've heard a wide array of reports of individuals going online and they're not able to create an account, or they're having issues signing in. I know some short time ago there was a system crash or failure that caused the website to lose a lot of vital information, including information that I was sourcing for myself from other prospective owners. There was hundreds of threads of information that got deleted due to this crash, and it was unfortunately unrecoverable. And during that time, yes, there was some issues going on with newcomers signing up. But since then, I've been contacted by quite a few new people that are able to get on. So if you guys are still interested in contacting me, for parts or questions, or even just to say hello, you can still do that. Links are still available via the bio section of my YouTube channel and also in the description of my videos. So again, if you're interested in parts, I ask that you reach out there, because again, if you ask a question of how to contact me or how to get parts via the comments on YouTube, all I'm gonna do is direct you to go to Importer anyway. So just go ahead and do so. And again, you will have a higher success rate of getting a response from me, as I frequent Importer pretty much every day. So do contact me there. A little off topic, not so much about my R50, but about my wife's 2014 Mirage cargo trailer camper conversion. We're concerned the actual build for that rig, there's not much information that I can offer you aside from what it currently has. We've done 0 modifications to it since acquiring it. Everything as it stands is the way that it's been since we acquired it from the previous owners. Again, we scored this rig from an older couple up in Washington, Utah. This is in the St. George area, for those of you who are familiar with Utah. And we've owned the rig for about 2 years now, almost as long as I've owned my R50. Although, I think I acquired my R50 maybe 3 or 4 months prior to us picking up that trailer. So we haven't done anything. We don't even know how much the trailer weighs, to be honest. All I know is that my truck can pull it. So far, it's been a very rewarding experience being co-owner of the trailer. Again, it's my wife's rig. I didn't fit the bill for it, she did. Just like when I acquired my R50, I fit the bill for that, she didn't. But we definitely couldn't have her rig without mine, if that makes sense. So in terms of like insulation, what the rig weighs, what we did with the baseboards and all of that stuff, I don't know. I just simply don't know, guys. Sorry. I had another viewer wanting to know if I could get them a wood grain center console bezel for the climate control and infotainment system. The answer is yes and no. I've been hunting for those, not for my personal R50, but just to sell them, because I know it's a heavily sought after item. But sadly, I haven't been able to locate one that was still intact. Every time I found one of these things, they were always broken. But I'll keep looking. Another viewer wanted to know why I replaced the charcoal evap canister in the area where the purge valve bolts on to the canister. You can see a hairline crack. I did point to it in the video, and that's why I changed it. In fact, the previous owner, before they sold me the rig, they were actually in the process of trying to get it replaced. They had actually ordered the part, and if they hadn't sold the truck, they probably would have paid a mechanic to swap it out. So when I purchased the rig, they actually had the part en route. It was actually ordered a few days before I picked up the R50. So I think I waited like about a week, and then the previous owner and his son contacted me to come by and pick up the canister. And again, it was a dormant product. Personally, if I was making the purchase to carry out that repair, I would have never gone with the dormant, because dormant products are notorious for failing right out the box. Just because it's new doesn't mean it's good. The sun is going down currently. Probably can't even see me anymore. But I just wanted to hop on here to answer a few questions for you guys, just to connect for a little bit. But yeah, guys, we're gonna go ahead and end this chit chat here. It's getting dark. The sun is pretty much gone. Here's our sunset. And there's Mandalay Bay in the distance. And in the backdrop, that little triangle that you guys see there, that's the Luxor. If you've never stayed there, it's a really nice place. If you're ever in Vegas, you should definitely check it out. I've stayed there once before, and my room is really nice. Before we depart, guys, I just wanted to take this time out to thank each and every one of our current subscribers, and even more so for the newcomers as well. Welcome to the channel, guys. A lot of fun and exciting things to come for the R50 and the channel as a whole. I want to do a giveaway of some sort. I'm not going to give away all the goods right now. It is going to be an R50 part of sorts. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is until that day comes, as I'm still actively trying to source a few additional supporting parts. Again, thank you guys for hanging out with me and just accompanying me on this journey. We're now 664 strong and growing. We're just waiting to see a few more subscribers join the party here. We're really close to being monetized. We just need a few more heads, guys, to reach that 1,000 subscriber mark. If you're interested in possibly being a part of this giveaway, I strongly suggest getting locked in and hitting that subscribe button. You're definitely going to want to stick around for this one, guys. I think you guys are going to like where we're taking things. And once again, my name is Chris, and this has been the Camper Dan Files. If you've enjoyed today's video, go ahead and give it a like. And while you're at it, don't forget to share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, keep using your Pathfinder as a pathfinder on or off the pavement.